Well, Phil, thanks for joining us today at ADAPT's 10th Connected Cloud and Data Centre Edge here in Sydney. And today's theme is leading modernisation and balancing complexity whilst ensuring compliance. Thinking about your role and the customers you advise, what does that theme mean to you?
Predominantly an opportunity for us all to do better, I think, is the starting point. I work primarily with our partner organisations, and we're always helping our partners to uncover and understand what is it that they can really do that's going to drive customer outcomes, whether that's faster customer outcomes, whether it's greater value for the technology that they're employing, all the way through to full technology transformation or business transformation through the utilisation of the technologies that we in place. So I'm always looking for opportunities and opportunities for our partners to be able to advise and help our customers through whatever their challenges may be. A lot of that challenge comes through complexity and from an operational perspective, but also from their decision-making process. You know, really getting to the bottom of, well, what do I need? How do I pull this together? What are the components I've already got? What do I need to deliver more value around? And fundamentally, am I really serving our business organisations? So yeah, so probably a long way of saying simply, I see it as opportunity for us all to do better, to help our customers derive greater business value.
Mm-hmm. And I like that term as well, value. So we think about moving beyond those traditional return on investment, total cost of ownership, these kinds of concepts. And when we start with the value that the business is going to get, that our developers are going to get across the whole application portfolio, sometimes when we're going out to the cloud, we're consuming software as a service. We're building new features and functions in platform as a service and integrating some of the capabilities from infrastructure as a service. When you think about that integration angle, what are some of the complexities that you're hearing from customers in the market?
Most of the complexity comes from, I would say, a place of fear and understanding. So let me unpack that a little bit. The fear side is because people have been bitten in the past. They've built up legacy technical debt within their organisations, and now got to the point where they are struggling to unwind some of that. It's become so ingrained in their overall business that they don't want to end up in the same place again, ultimately. So I think it's a heightened awareness of it. I think the complexity has always been there, but I suppose we're adding new strings to the bow. You mentioned the SaaS piece there. In my mind, the fastest way to deliver business value through a delivery as a SaaS capability. But when you then layer that with the overall portfolio of the challenges that a business is trying to solve and the things they're trying to get through on a day-to-day basis, and keep their business running and keep their customers happy and drive cultural change within their own organisation, ultimately what we're really talking about is transformational change for a lot of organisations. Now that's not really something to be feared, I don't think. I think it's something to be excited about. So whilst there is complexity, I think what it's really doing is making us all look so much closer at where we can drive simplification, what is required, what challenges does the complexity bring. Many things are in life that are highly complex, but we don't shy away from them. We look for solutions, we look for the challenges that we can solve, and bring through our partner network in particular a lot of solutions to bear to support them on every step of their journey.
And thinking about that simplification piece, I mean, I think that will resonate with a lot of larger organisations here in Australia and also New Zealand as well. And to take just one very simple example from ADAPT's research, so we see that currently 13% of public cloud instances are through the consumption of collaboration and communication tools. And the last 2 years, we've gotten into an environment where we almost have sprawl in just that experience layer as well. How do you see larger organisations unpicking some of that sprawl and simplifying the experience of their users?
That's exactly what we mean when we talk to our customers around digital transformation. There is That kind of goes hand in hand with some of the legacy conversation, the technical debt type conversations. And what we're doing is we're finding that kind of sprawl, it really happens when different parts of an organisation are not being serviced well by what they already have in place. So people are always looking for, how can I do things better? What do I need to operate my team or my organisation, the segment of my company? They're taking it quite very personally. They want to do the best job that they possibly can. So the sprawl really, to me, highlights that organisation hasn't quite found what is right for them yet. We believe, certainly from Microsoft, that we've got a significant part to play here in tackling that sprawl. We see that a lot of the research that we're doing at the moment is around the hybrid workplace. Yes, we are experiencing that today. We've been experiencing that for the last 2 years, or the acceleration in that over the last 2 years. But we're really looking at, what does it mean in 5 years' time, 10 years' time? Where are we going to go with this? How do people truly operate in that hybrid fashion? From that, technology can play a major role on that. But we're also seeing there's certainly a lot of cultural elements to it as well. How do you actually operate a set of meetings? What is the best practices for those meetings? Whether there are some people in a meeting room, other people could be remote and online. Getting the right level of interaction between those people. So what we see from a collaboration perspective is, you've got to bring it all together. I don't think it's going to work if you have these piecemeal components. And I'm just looking at this from a consumer side of things as a starting point. The people that are using the tools, they don't want to have to swap around and change their flow. When they're in flow, they want to be able to perform as best they possibly can all of the time. So that's from the consumer side. From the organisation's point of time, then you've got to think of the operational piece of this. Whether it's operations, whether it's security, whether it's kind of managing identity, whether it's flipping between different systems that organisations have built up over time. So I think from an operations perspective, what we're really looking to do is actually consolidating as much of that as possible into a single overall control plane, ultimately, of how do we collaborate across our organisation. Bringing much of that together really simplifies the role of those people that are tasked with keeping this going as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And then I said earlier around the SaaS piece, delivery through SaaS mechanisms is by far the fastest way to deliver business value. And so that's certainly from Microsoft's perspective, that's the motion that we've been on for many, many years. And I certainly believe that we're doing a really good job in that space, and with that SaaS delivery model for these customers, giving them the flexibility to be able to model their organisation with model their organisational structure with their actual buying cycles as well, and what they need, and as they expand and contract, and what is the flexibility they have there. So I think we are seeing less and less of the individual point solutions because it's got a specific set of features and capability that services one part of their organisation, and we're bringing a lot of that capability together.
Absolutely, and I think when we talk about that simplification piece, when we talk about unifying the experience, if you like, not only for our developers but also our corporate staff and what have you, it's really trying to have that sort of inclusive approach when we think about, okay, what are the policies that we need to make hybrid work for both our employees but also the executives that are leading those employees as well. Because on the one hand, you have that sort of need for certainty with physical office space, but also the want to adapt and allow for individuality so that you're focusing on accountable autonomy, if you like. And when you think about some of the solutions that you're working on, some of the larger organizations that you're working with, and they'll often have multi-cloud environments across the major providers, what are some of the ways that organizations can start to deliver on those future of work aspirations?
I think the main point there is, don't think of it as a technology piece, actually. I think, yes, we'll be providing tools within the enterprise to be able to service that collaboration, really engage all employees at the place they're at that time. But how do you get there? It's really a change program. And so we're seeing those organisations that have adopted most effectively have treated it not as a technology program of works, but as a change. And some of that can be a cultural change within the organisation. And so that's probably the most significant area that I see a lot of our partners playing in and guiding a lot of those large organisations through that change process. It can be simple things like, how do I actually structure my SharePoint sites and or my Teams channels, for example? How do I ensure that I don't get, I'm not sure there's a term for it yet really, but the sprawl of collaboration. We've gone from having the email as the primary form of communication to much shorter and more frequent communications through various different channels. In our case, through the Teams channels. Mm-hmm. So how do I treat that? How do I put the right processes around that so people aren't faced with people aren't faced with that overload of information as well. And this is where we're moving into the world of artificial intelligence. So we can actually start highlighting to people and learning about behaviours and highlighting to them what is the next thing that they should be looking at or could be looking at. Mm-hmm. And really driving the simplification for the individual user experience at the same time as putting in the guardrails and the structure so that it's going to work across an entire organisation, not just kind of not get siloed by individual teams.
So really reducing toil whilst increasing value, if you
Hopefully.
like. Yeah. And one last question. So if you were to leave the community with one brief message, what would it be?
Don't shy away from it. Give us a call anytime. There is so much that these organisations can benefit from collaboration of their own teams. Or across their own organisations. Take those steps, think of it as a change project, not a technology project, and really think about what is it that you're going to drive, what is the outcomes that you're striving for. If it's just a mechanism to communicate better, that's kind of taking you part of the way there. If you're truly looking a way for the cross-collaboration across large organisations, then it's absolutely the journey that they need to be on.